Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another exciting and fun-filled episode on this Passagemaker Dingy build series. We got lots to do, so let's get at it. So we left off the last episode putting some first coats of this marine wood finish on to the rudder cheek assembly. I've got 2 coats on it now, and I tell you right, I'm pretty happy with this. I think this I think it looks for just 2 coats on it. Haven't done any sanding yet. But my first impression is pretty nice. You can see some imperfections on it. Like I said, I haven't sanded it. There's a couple of spots where I had those triangle things holding it up because I did both sides at the same time. And there's a couple of those spots that are kind of sticky a little bit still. And it hasn't been quite 24 hours since I did this, and the temperature has been staying relatively cool. So I'm gonna, before I do anything else with this, I'm gonna give it another day to at least one more day to cure, and then the plan is to give it a good smooth sanding with 400 grit paper, I think is what it calls for. I've got to see if if I've got any 400 grit paper. Just realized that. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going to give this another day to cure, and then we'll get back to it, doing some sanding, some finish sanding on it, and then when I do the final coats, I'll just be doing one side at a time to see if we can get a really good result. And I actually had flipped it over, and it was always seemed like the bottom coat would get a few sags in it, and would have a worser finish. So we'll see if we can do one side at a time and get this looking good. But so far, like I said, it's only been it's been less than 24 hours since I put the second coat on here, and it seems like it is nice and hard. I wouldn't, like I said, I want to give it one more day to cure here and see what it looks like before I sand it. All right, so next things I'm working on here. So like I've been talking about, I want to do 2 coats of epoxy on the exterior here. One of the things I still need to do is I want to do some use the light fiberglass to go around the edge here. Probably just do a couple strips with that. I think it's 4-ounce finishing cloth that they provide with the kit, and then do some more sanding up here. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and work underneath the boat here. Hold on. Yep, so I'm going to work, do some, well, I got the boat upside down like this. I'm going to do some finishing sanding on this part that I glued in on the underside of the seats. And I still want to go back and do the Dagger board trunk, and then the forward part of the underneath of the seats. Do that, and then start cleaning up under here pretty good. I'll be putting another fillet along this Dagger board trunk to build it up pretty good. But I think it's going to be easier to do the sanding while it's upside down instead of trying to reach over into the boat. And then I think the only other thing I got to remember to do is this here, but I think we'll wait on doing this until I put the fillets on top. So first thing I'm going to do is underneath here, then I'll lower the boat down a little bit and then work on the top side of the there, and might not get the fiberglassing done until tomorrow or the next day. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'll be I'll be back to my my sanding along here and getting this cleaned up. I'm probably, well, I'm 100% sure I might do it while it's like this. It might be even a better idea to do the remember I had the epoxy. I've already done one layer of epoxy here, but they didn't have you do this part here, but I think I'm going to anyways, since this will be painted. I've got epoxy primer, so it might be smart to just do a layer of epoxy in here even before I do And I'm going to do the sanding. I am going to do some cleanup first. Yeah, I'll do some cleanup in here first and get it ready. And then we can come back sometime and put a coat on the inside here while it's upside down. Might be easier. All right, let me pause here and I'll get to work with some sanding and we'll be back later. All right, another day out here in the shed. This rudder cheek assembly is, like I said before, it's got 2 coats on it. I think it's pretty well cured up here. These spots where the triangle things were sitting are still seem a little bit soft, but we're going to go ahead and give this a try. Somebody in the last video or so had mentioned the cabinet scrapers. Now, I've seen them used before, but I've never actually used one myself. So instead of sanding, we're going to give the cabinet scraper a try here and see how well this smooths out. Now, I think you're supposed to just go ahead and so there's the those big dimples or the big drips hadn't cured. We're gonna have to do something about that. That's a problem. So this marine wood finish, boy, you really don't want to leave any of these because it's been let's see, so 2 days, 3 days now, and some of these bubbles haven't cured. See if this cleans up a little bit with this some denatured alcohol. That's one of the, like I think I mentioned, one of the reviews on this marine wood finish is that it doesn't dry. Yeah, I can see now if you have any drips, any little puddles, it's going to take it a while to dry, I think. The only thing else I've been thinking about is getting some or what I was thinking about is getting some, I think it's Japanese dry or something like that. Well, I think the plan of attack now is to sand most of this off. Yeah. Not real happy. I think I'm going to give it a pretty good sanding. I'll start at probably 120 or 80 even, and see if we can get this smoothed out a little bit, and then decide what to do from there. Well, that doesn't seem too bad now. I think I'll go ahead and do the rest of it with this 80 grit and then come back and we'll hit it with 220 again, just to see if we can smooth it out a little bit more. And I'm trying to decide if I want to give the this marine wood finish another shot with maybe see if I can find some Japanese drying stuff, whatever that's called. I know what I'm thinking about. I don't remember what exactly it's called. All right, let me go ahead and pause here. I'll get this sanded down some more. If I get a chance, I might be doing some more. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, I got a good part of the inside underneath the boat done. I'm thinking about working on the other side and the opening for the Dagger board today, this afternoon, if I get a chance, and get prepped for doing some fiberglass work there. But let me get this sand first, see where we're at. All right, so I got the rudder cheek assembly sanded down. Like I said, I'm going to think about that a little bit and see what I come up with there. But so anyways, I started cleaning up the this opening for the Dagger board here, and I got it cleaned up pretty good. And by using a combination of my rotary tool with the sanding drum on it and a piece of sandpaper, we got it cleaned up pretty good. One of the things I want to do is I want to put fiberglass so that it's over the edge and rounds up over to protect this edge, and also to cover up the seam inside. So looking at it, I want to make this more of a curve here. So this is probably not a good idea. Like most things I do. But anyways, I've got a big old 1/2 inch radius round over bit on my router here, and I've got it set not very deep, so I don't know how much more I'm going to get out of this. But let's go ahead and give this a shot and see if we can not hose this up. And I remember I've got a spot over in this corner here with where I had drilled down, so I got to be careful there, but most of the rest of it I've evened out pretty good, I think. So we should have a fairly smooth run here. Here's praying. It gave us a little bit more, but not very much. I think that's going to have to do, and I'll just go ahead and hit it with some more sandpaper and try to bevel this edge out a little bit more, I think, and then clean it up and get some fiberglass cut and see when the next opportunity is to get some fiberglassing done. Alrighty then, another day out here in the shed, and I'm getting ready to do up the fiberglass over here. So I've already got some pre-cut fiberglass. Let's see if we can see this. You can see I've kind of frayed the edges where I've taken the other threads out from the sides, all around the sides. So hopefully when we put it in there, we'll have we won't have as many stray threads running about. First thing I'm going to do here is take some clear epoxy and wet out especially the sides here. Then I'm going to thicken it up just a little bit, and especially on this side here, there's some gaps that I want to make sure we get filled in. And then we'll put the fiberglass in right over that and put the peel ply on. So I hope we're ready to go and get this last bit of reinforcement here done. All right, I've thickened up this epoxy a little bit. It's probably it's pretty not very thick, so I'd probably say I don't know, maybe like a little bit more in the heavy cream or something. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get some of this smooshed in here. All right, now let's see how we're going to do this, getting this fiberglass in here. I cut it so that I hopefully we cover up the edges, but this one doesn't look like it's quite long enough. Let's see how this goes. All right, doesn't look too bad. I'd hoped to come around these ends a little bit more, but I'm not going to worry about it. With the thickened epoxy here, we'll make sure we've got enough there. So now I just got to wet out the rest of this. All right, let's try this peel ply now. I may have to mix up a little bit of clear epoxy to make sure this peel ply gets wetted out. Oops. Let's think about this. I should have cut this shorter. All right, a little fiddly, but not too bad. Get this other side done here. Alrighty then, not too bad. I think this came out fairly decent. Like I mentioned, my biggest thing that I wanted to accomplish here was to get the this joint between the bottom and the dagger board trunk covered over, and I think we've managed to accomplish that pretty good. The biggest voids were on this side here, and made sure I got some thickened epoxy down in there before I put the fiberglass over top, and I'm sure this will take quite a bit of sanding as always, but I think we're just about done with this dagger board trunk repair anyways, and I probably would have done this anyways, to be honest. The way they have you do this, the fiberglass over the bottom of the boat here and then cut the hole, I think you probably should come back and do something with this dagger board trunk hole anyways, but that's just me. So anyways, I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do for for varnishing yet. Still looking at that. So not sure what I'm going to work on next. Like I said, it'll be dependent on the weather. I'd really, boat's upside down like this, I'd really like to do the 2 coats of epoxy on the bottom of the boat here, but I need a good weather window for that. So we'll pause here and figure out where we're at. All right, next day here, and let's see, this is nice and hard. Looks like I ended up with a pretty big bubble there. I don't know what happened. I could have sworn I had it all straightened out. Let's get this peel ply off. Yep, pretty big void there. Some not really dry spots, just voids in the epoxy along both edges. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up a little bit, and then with some sandpaper get rid of some of these spots, and then probably come back and touch up along these edges at the minimum on both sides here with some clear epoxy, and let that set before I do anything else. All right, got this cleaned up pretty good, and this spot here is really the major one, besides along the edges here need to be filled in. So I've got some clear epoxy, and we'll get those filled in and have to probably do another sand after that. But I think we're on the right track here anyways. All right, got a few other spots I can use up this clear epoxy on, so I'll do that, and we'll be back later. Well then, so yep, so I got this light coat of epoxy on here. It's all dry. It's cleaned up most of the problems here. So when I go to do the whole boat, I'll be doing some very light sanding of the epoxy I had left over. I went ahead and did some other work here on especially on this bottom fillet here on both sides. I went ahead and hit it with that clear epoxy, and did this rail pretty good. I still probably need to do that rail. So when I do my next light sanding, I'll probably mix up another small batch and just hit some spots that I want to make sure are good and coated before I do the whole thing. And The other reason is I'm going to do it that way is because I'm starting to run out of epoxy, so I've got some more on order, which brings me to my other point is if anybody wants a only slightly used marine total boat marine wood finish, let me know. I was going to experiment around with this some more and thin it down a little bit more and maybe do some acetone or some Japan dry. But I said, yeah, I think I want to go a different direction. So I've also got some other stuff on order that we'll use to see if we can do some kind of varnishing with the pieces I want to leave bare wood. So that's coming next. So anyways, I think we'll go ahead and finish up this episode. All right, so good. So made some pretty good progress. Pretty happy with most stuff except for the marine wood finish here. Not real happy with that, but that's part of figuring out how all this stuff works. Like I said, I've got stuff on order. Should be here next week. I need to check on that. The temperatures look like they're going to be a little bit high for the most part, so probably going to have 3 or 4 days here where I'll only be just doing some light sanding, so I probably won't record any of that. But pretty soon we ought to be able to get back into it with the temperatures dropping mid next week, I think. But for now, we'll say thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Please leave me any comments, questions, suggestions down below. Please tell your friends about me. And please subscribe. Everyone, take care and be good.